English remains one of the most widely used languages in international operations, and the language is a bridge between lots of people across the world. The problem is, what if English isn't your first or even second language, but you still need to use it to communicate? Joining me today is Ronit Zimmer, CEO and founder of Mailfixer, a product that may just have the solution. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So to begin, tell us about Mailfixer. What does this product do?
Well, Mailfixer actually is an on-demand service that copy edits and then proofreads any kind of written communication, but with an emphasis on fast communications. So emails, digital communications, posts, blogs, tweets, Facebook posts, that kind of thing where you really want to have a lightning speed turnaround.
Now, I know this would be very helpful for me because my father always sends me emails. He's like, can you edit this for me, make sure I didn't misspell anything? So how does this work, though? I mean, who is it designed for? Do you have people who are going through the emails themselves, or is there some algorithm?
Yes, it's a peer-to-peer system. I have hundreds of Mailfixers around the world, native English speakers who have been tested and trained by me, sitting in every single time zone. Basically, a client will submit some text, whether through the web app or via email. It gets picked up within 5 minutes. It gets rewritten, gets sent back into the system. Another notification gets sent back out for a check, which is essentially a proofread. It gets checked and then sent back to the client within minutes, rewritten in perfect English.
Interesting, but are there ever mistakes that are made? Because if you have so many people doing this, how do you
essentially
check that?
The second review is what makes sure that there are no mistakes.
Wow.
Because, based on my experience, I've been working in the international communications field for 14 years. And I used to go back on my papers and on my texts, and I'd see little mistakes. And so I decided when I built the platform that second review was essential to make sure that the texts going out were perfect.
Absolutely. Now, who are the people that are using this platform? Business people?
It's mostly business. Basically, if you're going to pay for a tool to make sure your communication is good, it means that your correspondence is your brand. So it is. It's basically a B2B product. We have large companies and small companies. We have clients mostly here in Israel, but heaps also in the US. We have in Japan, in Taiwan, in Korea. We're getting around.
No, it really is a brilliant idea. What inspired you to come up with this?
Actually, funnily enough, my old boss at the Paris Center for Peace, so that's where I started when I first made Aliyah. He called me the other day on a completely separate, just on something completely separate, and I said to him, "You were my patient zero." He used to call me up and he'd start dictating an email to me, and I would rewrite it in fluent and professional English. And that's where it started. And then from there, I created a consultancy beyond Israel, and we did all sorts of written communications. But we found ourselves writing and rewriting and translating emails and just the most basic day-to-day correspondence, which someone where English is not their first language just kind of has that little bit of difficulty, or it just takes too long and it still just doesn't quite get out. It just doesn't come out right. Something gets lost in translation. It's not as engaging as it should be, and it's not as effective. And I thought I can scale something like that, where I can provide an on-demand and efficient, easily accessible service just to help level the playing field, really, for non-native speakers. On the flip side, I write in Hebrew, but my Hebrew is not perfect, and I would love to have somebody who could give me a quick check on my Hebrew text as well, in the same way.
Well, so maybe that's where your company needs to be headed,
right?
For other languages as well.
Definitely. We'll be heading in the multi-language zone too. Definitely.
Absolutely. Now, how many people are operating as Mailfixers now? How many? First of all, you said how does someone become a Mailfixer?
So
that's my first question here.
Essentially, we have applications come in every single day. Probably in terms of the statistic, I take about 10%. I'm very pedantic in terms of the quality. You need to have native English, American or British. You need to write that as well in your form, and then you take a test. So I've set up a test where it shows me very quickly whether you have that proficiency to rewrite texts. And once somebody is accepted as a Mailfixer, they need to then undergo training.
Are these people paid per email?
They are paid after I've integrated Stripe Connect, which is this great system that allows for automatic payment on the spot after completing every single job.
So that means you could essentially just log into the system and start taking emails for an hour per day when you have that free time.
Whenever you have. It's completely flexible. You log in, notifications come up, just like an Uber notification really, and then you can start earning money. And basically every time you submit something, the money goes straight into your bank account.
So basically this interview provides a job opportunity for anybody who's interested in doing this, but also, I mean, I think this is a really brilliant idea. It seems so simple in so many senses, but why didn't it exist before? I know, growing up in a multinational family, these are issues that I face with my parents. I have a native English-speaking daughter, but their English isn't necessarily at the same level, so they always needed my help, and I'm sure that they would love this product.
Look, I grew up as well. My father's Israeli, so I grew up in the
Right.
same way, and as well for being here for 14 years, I have fixed so many friends and colleagues, texts.
Don't get me started.
Exactly. It's just one of those things you do as an Anglo-Saxon here in Israel. So, what is really nice about, and for me, because I come from a non-profit background, a lot of my clients were non-profit organisations, is to see this community growing, and a lot of the community is actually, new immigrants coming in from English-speaking countries, and it just gives them a little bit of supplementary income or, a bit of help until they find that job that they're looking for.
Well, good job on what you've done, and I'm excited to see what happens next. We'll see what languages that you guys move into in the future.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.